In today's video, I'm going to show you how to doodle applique designs on the Design Doodler. Let's get started. Welcome back, Legacy family. It's good to see you. I've never really done applique until now, and it's only after I had a chance to test something out that I realized why people like doing it so much. So if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to leave a comment down below so that I know, hey, we want to show you more, okay? If you guys haven't downloaded the Design Doodler trial, we're also going to link it down in the description. You can check it out, and it comes with the iPad companion. As well as if you want to learn the basics on how the Design Doodler works, you can click this video up here to see a walkthrough from John. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to import my image. And here I have a simple fox head. I'm going to enable my hoop by clicking here on the right. I'm currently using my mouse just because I think I'm going to be switching between mouse and pen for some cool features. You can obviously go full pen, but I just think I really enjoy digitizing with mouse to this day, so I kind of switch back and forth now. I'm going under properties right here on the right and clicking these three lines to select properties and just turning down its opacity. This hoop right here is 100 by 100, so this design is going to be around 3.8 inches, which I'm totally cool with because it's going to be a nice big design. Now, the awesome thing about the Design Doodler is that it includes an applique tool in the widget. So you open up the wheel and you select applique. Now, before you start doodling, make sure you go under settings. So let's go to settings right now, and there is the auto close applique. If you do not want your applique to close automatically, you can disable that, but if you do want it to close, then you enable that, okay? For now, we're going to leave it on. Now, I'm no expert on applique, but it normally follows 3 different steps. The first one is the placement stitch, the second one is the tack down stitch, and the last one is the satin stitch that makes the applique look super clean on all the edges. So with this widget tool, you're basically creating all those stitches at the same time. If I zoom in right now, you'll see that there are one stitch right here, then the second one, and then the zigzag on top. If I select it and I go under the properties, I'm going to go to the bottom. It says sew placement, right? So if I disable that, then that's enabling or disabling the placement. Then there's the tack down. I'll show you the steps as we're embroidering, but the first step is to put the placement down. Then you would put your fabric and sew the tack down. Then you cut the fabric as close as you can to that edge. And then lastly, after you've cut your fabric, you would add the zigzag border, the satin border to clean it all up. So those are the steps. That's pretty simple. So we're just going to utilize this tool and modify it so that we can get the best results. Let's get started. I'm going to delete this shape right here as I do not need it. I'm going to go 1 to 1 and I'm going to enable my image. Now I'm going to go 1/3 and you can see that we have 2 different colors. We have the orange right here of the top of the head, and we have the white down here. I like gray, white. It can be a little bit skin or something. And on top of it all, we have the black outline as well as the other outlines around it. As a beginner in the applique world, I was wondering, how am I supposed to do appliques of 2 different colors? Thankfully, we have a lot of tutorials, especially if you guys have the Design Doodler. You can watch the tutorials to learn all about appliques. My idea for this design is to use the applique tool to create a placement stitch for the orange, then create a tack down, cut it down here where it ends, then create the second one around it, and then lastly create all of the black outline in one go. Does that make sense? We're gonna find out. Today's the day of testing it out. And again, I was using the pen, but I am going to be using something slightly different, and it's because I've been experimenting a lot with this line tool. Right now, with my line tool, I have under the settings, auto close applique, which to me is perfect because what I'm gonna do is let me go ahead and select the color right now. I'm most likely going to select, let's say, a brown. This is just for us to get started, and I'm going to click, hold, and as long as this is enabled right here, you'll see that there's a red circle right there that allows me to continue to the next. I'm going to continue to the next, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to continue creating these shapes right here with my mouse like that. That one I'm going to skip because I'll probably just do like a quick little stitch. And I'm going to go all the way at the top, all the way here, go all the way to over here. I'm just going to define the whole shape. Again, ensuring that I'm using the red circle, and I'm gonna go to the end to ensure that it auto closes. I think it auto closed. Let's find out. Just gonna move this away. Yep, that's pretty good. Now you're like, Ken, what's wrong? This doesn't look good. What's going on here? Let me just enable the 3D so you guys can see. That doesn't look anything like the fox. No worries, because one of the things that I've really been enjoying on the Design Doodler, although it's not the goal is to utilize the pen, I like using this path edit tool. So I'm going to select the path edit tool, and I'm going to go under my properties. Instead of going on the select mode, I'm going to click on the add mode, and I'm going to add a path or a node on every single place where I feel like I could add a bit of a curve. So right there, I thought I could add a curve. Over here, I could probably add a curve over here and over here. I might change this depending on how I feel about the design. Then I'm going to switch to select mode. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start moving these nodes. So I'm going to click smooth, and I'm going to click smooth. You can see I'm kind of trying to smooth things out. Then I'm going to move this one right here and select this one and move it something like that. That looks pretty good, I think. Let me just move the start. Awesome. And let's move this one back down again. Now, for this part right here, I don't want it to be smoothed out, so I'm going to select cusp instead. And what cusp allows you to do is to individually move each angle. So I'm moving that angle over there. I'm going to move this one over here. This one, I'm going to click apply so that I smooth it out, as same as this one right here. And for this one, I'm going to switch to cusp. So I'm just going to click smooth. Cusp is good. Smooth it out again, maybe. And let's just move this one down a little bit. You can also move around these nodes like that. I will enable the 3D so you guys can see what's happening. And I'm just zooming it in or out. So again, this one, I probably want it to be cusp as well, just so that I can kind of make this one go up that way. This one up this way. I'm going to smooth this one out. I'm also going to smooth this one out. And this one, I'm going to turn into a cusp. Something like that. Looks pretty good. Maybe I'll even smooth it out. Let's see. I mean, that looks good. Let's maybe turn into that. Cool. For this, I'm going to just smooth this hole out. And for this one, I think we can just kind of create another stitch underneath as opposed to like trying to do all this with the applique. So let's keep going. Again, I'm going to select my path select tool. That looks good. This one, let's put it over here. And this one, we're going to smooth it out. And this one, we're going to bring it over here and smooth it out. Actually, that looks pretty good. The last thing I gotta do is switch this one to cusp. Sorry guys, I'm totally off screen. Down here, I'll just smooth this one out. Yeah. And make sure it kind of follows the path. I suggest you guys practice a lot with this tool, as you'll get a lot faster with it, and it's really fun. And if you're only using a mouse, then this is really fun to play with. So I'm going to bring this down here. This one I'm going to turn into smooth, and this one I'm going to turn into a cusp. Although it could be smoothed out, I kind of want this edge to be a little bit sharper, like that. Awesome. And let's finish up this area by going down here. Nice. And let me just reshape it a little bit. Awesome. Cool. Now if I take off the image, it looks something like that. You can see we've done the area. Now I'm going to go under the view slow redraw, and if I press play, you'll see that it does the placement stitch. So this placement stitch you would put on the fabric that you're going to embroider on. Then you would stop the machine after the placement stitch is done so that you can put the fabric on top, the applique fabric. Once the applique fabric is on top, then you would put the tack down stitch. And that's what this is right here. And lastly, after you've cut around the whole applique, you would put the fabric back onto the embroidery machine and do the satin stitch like that. Awesome. The problem right now is that we have two colors. You have the orange one and the white one, and we've only done an applique for one color, which means we have to find a way to split these two. So because I need to do 2 different colors, in my head, I was thinking that I need to create another 2 tack down stitches and placements. Let me show you what I mean. So I will create the first one by going here. So let's put it up here, then the second one here. Oh, and before I do that, let me just go back. And what I'm going to do is click on settings, and I'm going to turn off auto close because I do not want that anymore. Let's also switch to a different color. Let's select this pink one right now. So I'm going to do, and I don't want to select the same one. So again, let me just select the color. Okay, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to click 1, 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5, like that. Now we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the mouse. I'm going to select this one right here, go onto properties, select mode, select, and I'm going to smooth this out, and I'm going to smooth this one out. That's it. That looks pretty good, right? But you're like, hey Ken, what? This is so random right now. Like, what are you doing? Well, I'm gonna go under properties when I'm using the select tool, select that shape, and under properties, I'm gonna take out sew border. You can see I've taken that out. All right. That way, it's only going to sew out the border. I'm going to just bring this up a little bit so it's right underneath that line. Perfect. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. You'll see when I go to the layers, it's pasted it here now, and I'm going to change the color to yellow or just something similar to that. Doesn't really matter so much. Let's select the yellow right now on these 2. Let's select color 1, and let's this one select color 2. That's fine. Awesome. Now before we continue doing anything else, I'm going to grab the gold as well as the green and bring it all the way to the top. And the brown that we have set here right now, I don't want it to be fully embroidered yet. So I'm going to also make this brown disappear by holding onto the 3, going onto the settings or the properties, and under the properties, I'm going to take out sew border. So now you can see that we only have the placement stitch and the tack down stitch for everything. But I do want the actual border for the last one, for the whole shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one. I'm going to copy and paste. There you go. So I have copied and pasted this one, and for these I'm going to go under the properties. I do not want the placement, I do not want the tack down, but I do want the border and I do want the zigzag. So if I click on the plus sign, I can see that this is the zigzag with the underlay. These are the tack downs right here. This is the placement, this is the tack down, and again this is the placement and tack down, placement and tack down. Now I know that sounds super confusing. I promise it's gonna make sense at the end of the day. Let's do something really quick so we don't get confused, and let's grab this light brown and switch the color to a black. If this is still very unclear, don't worry. What I'm going to do for this applique, because it's 2 different colors and this line right here is what's dividing them, I'm going to put the first placement stitch right here, which is going to be the orange, then allow the tack down to happen and only cut the bottom of the applique. Okay, then I'm gonna put the next placement stitch at the bottom, and I'm gonna put the tack down for the white fabric. Then instead of cutting the bottom, I'm gonna cut the top, and the bottom from the white is gonna stay taped to the bottom, and the orange from the top is gonna stay taped to the bottom. Then the light brown is going to do the placement, it's gonna do the tack down, and at last it's going to do the full outline. Now, the reason why I don't want it to do the full outline just yet is because I want to manually go in and create these shapes right here so that we have a cool design. All right, that's pretty much it. So now that we've taken care of the applique part, we can have fun and create the inside of the design. Let's take care of that. Let me move to this area. I'm just going to disable 3D stitches. You guys can see that's zigzag as well as the tack down and placement stitches. Awesome. Now for this one, we're probably going to switch to a steel. I think a steel would be really nice. What do we have it at right now? We have it at 2.5 millimeters. Awesome. And I'm just going to create a couple of these shapes. Now, hey, like, why are you jumping all over the place, Ken? You're not supposed to be doing that. Well, I can. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because we're going to use the same tool that we were using before. So now that I've created that, I'm going to grab it all. So go to the properties, go to the layers, the sequence view, and we're going to grab these three. Let's start out with one first. So let's grab this one right here. I'm going to go under properties now, and the standard line cap, I want it to be rounded. Oh, it's the other side. I want it to be rounded. Nice. Now for this, I'm going to go and select the node. So let's grab these tools right here, smooth it out. Awesome. I guess we're not really going to need the pen today. Let's see if we can do that challenge. We don't use the pen at all for today. All right, that's pretty much it. For this one, what I can do is go under select properties, same thing. Standard line cap, I'm going to switch it to rounded. That looks very nice. And I'm going to grab this one, and this one, and I'm going to click here to weld them together or to branch them together. Now that they're branched together, it's going to embroider all of it at the same time. That was so fast, wasn't it? I'm going to move next to the next one. So I'm going to switch the color just so it's easier for you guys to see. Maybe let's do like a nice purple. How about that? I'm going to, am I under brush? Just want to make sure I'm under steel. And I'm just going to create one shape like this. Then I'm going to go and select it. I'm going to click add. I guess I could have done like 2 points to make it faster, but it's okay. I'm going to click apply. And I'm going to select this one, click apply. And I'm going to select this one, just bring it a little bit further and click apply. And then again, just apply to make it round. Then grab it. And under the standard line cap, we're going to switch it to rounded, and we're going to switch it to rounder just so that it looks something like that. Very cute, right? So I'm just going to grab the eyebrow. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste. And I'm just going to paste it over here. But I'm going to mirror it horizontally or flip it horizontally. That is perfect. Awesome. Let's move on to this one right here. It's crazy that I'm doing everything with a mouse, huh, guys? We're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to, whoops. I forget. You kind of have to click and drag. Click and drag. And click and drag. Like that. We might bring that one down a little bit. Might be a little too up there because I want there to be a little separation from that. Okay, awesome. Next, let's grab that, and we're going to select. So again, I want to smooth this out. I want this to smooth out, and I want this to smooth out. This one too right here, smooth. And this one, that's pretty good actually. Cool. Now we're going to select, and under select, again, we're going to go to start line cap or end cap. Perfect. Rounded, and I want this one to be rounded. Well, no, I meant the other one. This one up here. Awesome. Just move it around. Cool. And then we're going to grab this one, and this one. Perfect. And we're going to branch them together. Look at that. Let me just change the color of this one too so that I don't get confused. Cool. So far, we got the purple. We can also take care of this right here if we want to. So again, let me go up here. I'm just going to create another line like that. And I'm going to create one more line like that. Looks nice. I'm going to select both of them. 1, 2. I'm going to set them both to rounded and rounded. Cool. And I'm just going to branch them both. That's pretty good. That's going to hide right there perfectly. Awesome. Next, what should we do? Should we take care of... Well, I guess to be honest, this line should be done first. So maybe I'll set all of these right here. Let me just grab them all. Grabbing all of those purples. I'm going to grab those purples and I'm going to select the color so that I know that they're in the same bracket. Awesome. This one might not be jumping or trimming, so I'm going to ensure that it does that by going to commands and command. I want to ensure that it trims so that it won't like automatically jump to this eyebrow right here. Perfect. Before I do the line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the eyes. And to create the eyes, I'm going to use the fill stitch. And what shape are we going to use? We're going to use the circle. Awesome. We're going to do something like that. That's perfect. Let's do the other one. And you know what? Let's change the color one more time so that it's easy to do. Let's switch colors. Maybe let's do a blue. Yeah, a blue. Perfect. Again, same thing. Grabbing my widget tool, I'm going to create the next circle. Awesome. That's all we had to do. Perfect. Now, let's make the lines. So I'm going to go back to my steel tool. What is it currently under? 2.5. I'm probably going to make it 3 millimeters just because I want to ensure that this is going to cover both of the stitches, you know, of the different fabrics that I created. So I'm just going to set it to that. Do 1 and 2. Awesome. Then I'm going to go under the properties to the tool mode, select it, and apply the smooth. Yeah. For this one too, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to apply the smooth. Perfect. Awesome. That looks really cool. The only reason why I did the eyes first is because I wanted this part of the stitch to be underneath the area. Does that make sense? Now, before we move on, let's just be sure that we are putting it as centered as possible, because we do not want one of the shapes, or I mean the fabrics, to be overlapping the other one. It also depends on your accuracy of cutting, which I found that I need to improve a lot. So that'll be something that you guys do with a lot of practice and fun, okay? Just remember to always have fun when you're doing these kinds of projects. That looks awesome. All we have to do left is the mouth, which is super easy, because what we're going to do for the mouth is we're going to grab a fill. For the fill, I am going to create, you know what, should we might as well. We already did the line. I cannot use lines for a fill. We're in trouble. No worries. What I'm going to do is do my best with a mouse to trace around this area. So something like this. It would be a lot easier for the pen, but honestly, I just want to show off to you guys my mouse skills. All right, I'm just going to grab this, ensure that it's not overlapping too much. That looks pretty good. Awesome. And I'll just apply a couple smooths over here to make it pretty, but I think this looks fine. If I go under the inclination edit, I'm just going to change the inclination or the angle of that shape to go like that. And the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to create this whole shape right here. So let's me go back to my steel tool, and let's go back to the line tool. Let's create one. Whoops, 3 millimeters is a little bit too much. Let's switch back to 2 millimeters. 1, 2, and we'll do 2 as well on this side. 1, 2. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's get started with the editing. All right, smooth it out. Perfect. Grab this one, smooth. This one, smooth. Let's grab this and let's smooth it out. Awesome. I love this tool so much. It's really nice. It allows me to play with a mouse, which I know a lot of you may not have a pen available. So, don't be scared to doodle, because you can still create some stuff this way. For the end command, we're going to leave it at that for now. But what we're going to do is go under stop line. We're just going to switch both of these to rounded. Same thing. We're going to switch this to rounded, rounded, and rounded. Cool. Last thing that I'm going to do is open all of this up. And what do I want to select? Well, I want to select this one, which is, make sure I'm not selecting anything. I want to select this right here, select this right here, and these two, so that I can branch them together. Perfect. So now that is going to embroider first. I want maybe this to start here. So start at the bottom, or you can start from the right. That's actually fine. Then I want this to stop up here, and we can get it to start right where this stops. Something like that. I might have glitched it a little bit. I sure did. So you know what? I'm not even going to mess around with that. So when it comes to branching tools, it's best to just leave it as is. But I don't want this stitch to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this right here. And I mean, I can either change the start and stop. So what I'll do is I'll just switch to start and stop there. That way it's going to create a trim. and it will not create a, you know, a little stitch, connecting stitch right there. We're going to leave it like that for now. Now the last thing that we're going to do is create another fill. I'm going to use my handy dandy ability to create shapes with my mouse. So I'm just taking care of that. That looks a little bit iffy, but it's okay because we have, again, the awesome tool that allows us to modify these shapes. Isn't that awesome, guys? I'm just going to put it down here and just start modifying these a little bit. I guess it wasn't too bad, was it? Change the angle of things. Actually, this one I kind of wanted to stay horizontal like that. That's perfect. Now, what else do we have to do? Well, we have to add some underlays. Not that many, but I am going to add a couple. So let me just grab all of the things that I think would like underlays, like the eye, starting with that one. So yes, the eye. I want both eyes to have underlays, as well as the mouth and the nose. I almost said the noise. We're going to go under underlay. We're going to click on the perpendicular, and I'm just going to increase the perpendicular to around 3 millimeters. That's pretty good. Awesome. So if I zoom out, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to zoom out, take out the picture so you guys can't see it. It still looks very weird, doesn't it? No worries. We have one more thing to do, and then we can finally clean all the design up. All right. The last thing that we got to do is take care of the eyes. Simple stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is grab, again, a fill. I'm going to switch it to a circle, and I'm going to select a different color. And I'm just going to create these two right now like this. Awesome. 1, 2. Perfect. And for this, we have more of like an oval shape. So I'm just going to do a quick free draw to make it super personalized like that. Awesome. Now, oh, and we have the mouth, so I guess let's take care of that. Totally forgot about the mouth, and we don't want to forget about the mouth. Cool. All right, let's enable 3D, see what that looks like. Not my favorite. I don't really like that. And I knew that that was going to happen, which is okay, because now I'm going to grab all of them. I'm going to go under settings or properties. I don't know why I keep calling it settings. And we're going to switch the fill pattern to a satin. Oh, yeah. Now, we're going to grab these two, which are these two right here on the left eye. We're going to branch those two. Then we're going to grab the next two, which are the right eye. We're going to branch them together. And that's it. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is just change the angle because I don't want the same angle. Oh, I meant to grab the eye. So I want to change the angle to go upwards like that. Perfect. Same thing with the second one. I want the angle to go upwards just so it doesn't, just so it doesn't blend underneath the blue. Same thing with the nose. Let's change the angle to go upwards. And let's change this to go... Actually, that's pretty good like that. I'm going to leave it like that. Awesome. Perfect. Let me just close all of these. All right. Now, I know this looks super confusing still, but do not worry because we got this covered. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab that black color and we're going to bring it all the way down. Look at that. Now, that's the last thing that's going to get stitched out. And what do we want black as well? Well, we wanted the pink right here. So I'm going to switch this pink and I'm going to switch this blue to black as well. So I'm just going to hello. Can I please have the color? Thank you. Switch it to black. Awesome. And you know what? For this, for the highlights, we don't necessarily need them to be stitching in between. So let's make the highlights go all the way to the bottom. Let's disable the image. You can see this is what the applique would look like. Let's see really quickly. It's going to do the two sides, which then I'm going to tape each one of them. It's going to do the whole thing then. Then it's going to create the inside. And lastly, it's going to do all the details before it does the full outline and finished look. Awesome. Now, I think this one, what did I set it to? Let me see again. Settings. I'm just going to open this up real quick because I believe that I set these to what? What was this? Let me see. Settings, 3 millimeters. Right. So I believe that this outline should also be 3 millimeters if it's not. Yeah, it's 2.5. So let's just make it 3. secure ourselves, not worry so much about, you know, having to cut so perfectly. And that's it. Let's get to the embroidery. I'll see you guys on the other side. And this is the final result of the applique design with the doodler. I chose to keep it on the hoop just so I can show you guys best, and I won't be using this onesie anytime soon, so I guess we'll keep it in the closet for now. As I was embroidering, I realized there were a couple of extra threads that were unnecessary. For example, the upper part, there was no real necessity to have a placement stitch because I already had the one at the bottom. So next time I would just skip that one and go straight to the tack down stitch. Same thing with the next one, I would just avoid the placement because there was no need for that. So I would just put the next tack down stitch for the whole design. And I gotta say, I found new respect to all of those you guys who do a lot of applique because I was sweating when I was cutting this out. Like I said, I'm just getting started with applique, so thinking that you're gonna cut through the fabric is so nerve-wracking, but thankfully we had proper scissors, and again, thanks to the TAJIMA side, it just made it so easy to stop every single step that I needed it to, so I can complete the design. Leave a comment down if you have any questions. I'm so excited to keep improving on this. Maybe we'll do some raw edge applique. I don't know, that looks pretty cool to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember that the Design Doodler link is in the description. Watch this video next, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Attention all machine embroidery beginners. Are you struggling to hoop your fabrics, don't know what thread to use, or even what tension is? Sign up for our free Embroidery for Beginners course and become an expert in no time. Click the link in the description to get started.